All right, we are off and recording. We can all see the screen. Welcome to our final Intro to Canvas Lab workshop. 5 weeks have gone by really quick. Just to go over the agenda today, I'm going to get some easy stuff out of the way. First, I'm going to show you real quickly, if you have any content in Blackboard, how we can migrate that over to Canvas, and there are some very important things you need to know about that. Also, there's going to come a point where you're going to want to take a lot of the stuff that you've developed in your training sandbox and transfer it to an official course. And I can already see, I've seen in many instructors' courses already that your spring sandboxes have already been created. You can, after you submit your final project, you can take what you've done and then transfer it over to official course and then continue building it out from there. I want to show you that. Then finally, I've graded one final project so far, and I want to use that as an example. I want to kind of go over that final project, talk about some of the positives and some of the things that I knocked this person off on, and so you can use that as a guide if you haven't submitted your final project. And then at the end, we'll end with open questions on, we cover anything or anything you want me to, whether it's your final project, Canvas, or how spring's going to be handled. I think that's how we're going to do today. So, to begin, all right, when we're talking about Blackboard, I'm actually going to go into a course here. Before I go, I want to make sure I got some tests in here to play with. I should have checked this before we got started. When we talk about Blackboard, there are only specific things that you can copy over. And forgive me, I'm making sure I'm set up here. I should have done this before we got started, but. Do I have any quizzes in here? All right. When we talk about Blackboard, there are specific things that you want to copy over, and there's specific things that you can't copy over. A lot of mistakes that instructors made in the past is they thought, hello, Sharon. We're going over how to transfer content from Blackboard to Canvas right now. A lot of instructors made the mistake of, they take this course and then they think they can, by the push of a button, they can easily copy over all their content over from Blackboard to Canvas, and it's going to be perfect. And they find out how quickly they're wrong, how wrong they are. It's not a smooth process, but there are things that you can do to make things a lot easier for yourself. We're going to do that, and we're going to cover that now. Now, in the actual course, let me go into the actual course for CTF1. Let me make sure I can see my face here. In the modules section for Unit 5, that is 5.7, migrating from Blackboard to Canvas. There is a PDF guide here from the California Community Colleges Open Education Initiative. It's a distinct guide. It's a detailed guide covering how to do this specifically and what you can and what you cannot copy over. I highly recommend you read this. I'm going to give you the summary of it today. Now, the main thing that they talk about here is when you copy things over, only one thing at a time. So if you have a bunch of tests, Michael, if you have tests in Blackboard that you want to cut, you just copy your tests. You don't export your tests and then your discussion boards. Yes, James? You don't need one test at a time. No, just the group. I'm saying in the entire context of that. Discussions, you don't, so I'm saying you would just, let's say, James, you had tests and discussions. You wouldn't create, and I'll show you what I'm about to do, but you wouldn't create a zip file or an export zip file of your tests and discussions. You just, one is your tests, and then the other one is your discussions.
One would be all of your tests, probably, and the other would be all of your discussions. Probably.
Correct. In this video that I do, this video I encourage you to watch. I demonstrate how to transfer discussion boards over. In your case, if you don't have a discussion board, if they're just tests, you just, in my instructions, whenever I say discussion board, when I tell you to click on the discussions, you select tests or you select whatever area that you feel is relevant. But today, I'm going to walk you through how I do that right now. And in this demo course, I'm going to be exporting these tests over into a Canvas course. shell course. So to begin, you're in the actual course. You would go, and this is something I wouldn't follow along on the computer. If you're logged into Blackboard, I would just recommend just taking notes and just following along what you see on my screen. So what we need to do is create an export package. And to create an export package, we need to go to our control panel. And then we need to refer to packages and utilities. So control panel, packages and utilities. From here, you're going to click on export archive course. Once you're on the export archive section, you are going to click on export package. This is a very important thing to understand here now. Now, again, as I emphasized before, some instructors have done this, created the export package, and realized the amount of nightmare they have. And the problem with transferring content like your entire course over from Blackboard to Canvas, let's pretend this is an actual fall course. What we see, like the icing on the cake that's in the course menu and what you visibly see, you're automatically as an instructor think that you're okay, this is my fall course and everything else. But what you don't understand is what you don't see is that most instructors, they copy their course from container to first semester, semester, and semester. And each semester, you might add content and everything else, and that content builds over time. So actually, when you get to this point, if you've been copying stuff over from semester to each semester container, you're not just copying the fall semester, you're copying however long you've been teaching in Blackboard from this one over to Canvas. So you got this huge amount of stuff that you haven't even done, haven't even sorted through. And that's where the nightmare comes in. Now, when we look at actual, so let's unselect all of these. I don't recommend doing your content areas. So your content areas is just all the stuff that you've created in your course menus here. And in Canvas, when the content areas in Blackboard are equivalent to your modules in Canvas, it's equivalent to the same thing. I've had instructors copy all of this over, and for that exact explanation that I said, the problems that they have, every instructor, once they've done taking this course and they do this, they find it much easier just to recreate the content over again. There's just a process of transferring specific files, discussions, and tests that they bring over. But this stuff that they've created, all the content they've created here, for example, all the content here, this stuff is recreated from scratch. However, so in this example, we're just going to do test surveys and pools. I'm going to click the checkbox here. I'm going to move this window out here. And then I'm just going to click submit. Up at the top, you get a green bar notification that says this action is being queued and email will be sent when the process is complete. Typically what I do, and if I know if it's not a lot of tests and stuff like that, I'm just going to click on refresh. And thankfully that didn't take that long. I have a zip file right here. I need to save this zip file to my computer. So I'm going to hover over with my mouse over the file name. I'm going to right click and then say save a link as. And then I'm going to save this file. Typically I do the desktop because that's the easiest place I can remember to find everything. And I'm just going to click save. Once that file is downloaded, I'm done with Blackboard. I can get out of this and I don't need to go back. Well, I will show you one more thing later on. We're not done with Blackboard yet, so I will stay logged in. So going back into my fake sandbox here, pretend development sandbox, notice my course quizzes are absolutely empty. I'm going to go into settings. And I'm going to go into import course content. This is one area you're going to be familiar with. Hello. Hi, Deborah. I'm going to go ahead and mute you.
Hey there. I'm trying to turn the phone.
I'm going to go ahead and mute you, Deborah. Just let me know if you have any questions in the chat room, and I'll be more than happy to answer.
Well, do you think?
So getting back on page, what we're doing here is we've just exported content out of Blackboard. We're going to go ahead and import that course content into Canvas. I do that by clicking on Settings, and then I say Import Course Content. This is one section you're going to become very familiar with. The content type, I'm going to click the drop-down menu, and I'm going to select Blackboard 6, 7, 8, 9. Who's drawing on my screen? That's interesting. The content I'm going to sit there and see is, so 6, 7, 8, 9, I need to choose the zip file. So I'm going to choose the zip file, click open. And then I just want to say all content. And I just want to, all content's going to be imported, and I'm going to import that. It's going to be running right here, so you're going to see a job right here. It's going to be running in the process. Now, note, if any of you, and this is more for the video than anything else, over our professional development week for this semester, I helped 5 instructors transfer their tests over from Blackboard to Canvas. The majority of them had matching questions. So, for example, in your case, there might be a lot of financial words, and then their definitions all mixed up, and you had to match which one was which. All of those questions failed. They didn't, Canvas could not read them, and they had to recreate those questions. And as you can see here in my thing right here, in this test thing, there are 2 issues that came up here. So there was an error in exporting an assessment question. I go ahead and click on that, and it'll take you. So you'll get an error like this. This question was imported from an external source. It was an error question that could not be supported by this quiz tool. So the transfer process, while it works, it's not perfect. And especially when we're looking at tests, if you transfer tests over from Blackboard to Canvas, don't assume that everything's perfect. Go through and make sure and just quickly review your tests and make sure that everything transferred over correctly.
Canvas will give you that error message
Yes.
at a minimum.
Right, at a minimum. You'll be able to sit there and see that. And then, but as you can see, if I click on my quizzes section, you see all the quizzes are there. How do you get files over? So you might have a bunch of files over from your Canvas course. If you have files over, and let's see if I have some stuff here. In Blackboard, I go into the control panel, and then I click on files, and then I'll click on my course ID. And there's some, let's say I want these 2 files right here, these 2 PDF files right there. Those are all I want out of this Canvas course. I check off the ones that I want to have selected, and then I say download package. And it's going to download a zip file. If I show in the folder, it just downloaded a zip file, GC test course. Those are my files right here. Now I'm done with Blackboard, so I can go ahead and get out of this. Now with files, all I need to do is go into my files section. Okay? And then I'm just going to upload that zip file that I just did. I'm going to upload, and then I'm going to find that zip file, which is going to be in the downloads folder, and then GC test course. And then I'm just going to click open. It's going to ask you a question. So zip file options, do you want to just upload the suitcase and leave it as is, don't open it? Or do you want me to upload the suitcase and unpack everything? I want to expand everything. And then just let that wait, and then the 2 files, as you can see, appear here. So this is a good example, too, not only getting files out of Blackboard, but if you have a bunch of files that you want to zip up and upload all at once, you can do that on your own, and then that would be an easy way to transfer content into Canvas. So really quickly, Jennifer, just to recap, what we did was we just, for the first 18 minutes, we just went over how to transfer content over from Blackboard to Canvas. So when I post this video up, you only need to watch the first 18 minutes if you want to learn how to do that. Right now, let me talk about how to copy content from one sandbox to another. This is another one you don't need to follow along on your computer. If anything, look up on my screen and take relevant notes. So let me get back.
Before you start, I have a question.
Uh-huh.
The method that you just told us about,
Yes. Okay. Michael, I have a question for you. You mentioned on the video when I sit there and I walk over to the screen and you can't hear or see me, could you hear other faculty ask their questions?
Not too much. That was actually I helped write a couple things. If you could repeat the question.
Okay, perfect. Good.
Thanks for reminding me.
Yeah. All right, so let me see. I want to figure out how I can properly explain this. By the way, I don't know, for the video here and for anybody asking, there's these two lines that have popped up. I'm assuming this is a Zoom thing. I don't know why that's there, and I'm not going to try to figure out and troubleshoot why it is there, so it just appeared out of nowhere. There is nothing in this course. All right. Pretend this is a spring course, and I want to copy my fall course, this is the CTF1, over to the spring container or sandbox. And there's one part that I do want you to do here. So go into, I don't care what container sandbox you go in, open a sandbox right now, because there's one thing I do want you to see, because it's going to be different on my screen. So in an actual sandbox, pretending this is the spring sandbox, you're going to click on Settings. Over on the right-hand side, again, you're going to look at Import Course Content. You're going to select Content Type, and you're going to say Copy a Canvas course. Now, there's a reason why I want you, there's one section here because it's different on my screen than it is yours. The search for a course box here, I have to type in the name of the ID, the course ID that I want to see. Yours should have a drop-down menu that you can click, and then you can see the actual course that you want to select. Do you see that on yours? Yeah. So you would select in this instance, you would select your GC Canvas Training Sandbox if you're copying that content to your spring sandbox. Make sense?
Yeah.
All right. So I would sit there and say, I have to type this in, so I don't know if I'm going to get this right. So CTF1. So I find my CTF1. So that's search for a course. This is the course I want to copy into this sandbox. And then I want to say all content. Now, here is a thing here that is not going to be relevant and please make sure, please tell me if this makes sense. In the context of the training sandbox, all you need to do is click import and then you're done. What I'm explaining to you now is at the end of the spring semester, when you want to copy stuff over to the fall semester, this is where what I'm about to explain to you applies. So, you know, when I talked about if you're using the course summary and you have deadline dates assigned for your quizzes, assignments, and your discussions or whatever, you want to adjust those event due dates. Adjust events and due dates. I'm going to click here, adjust events and due dates, and I could shift the dates. So the beginning date would be whatever the start of the spring, the fall semester was. That was what, August, I'm going to assume August 21st. When does fall end? December, we'll say December 15th. All right, so let's assume it ends on December 11th. So the point being is you would have the beginning date of the spring semester, the end date of the spring semester, and then you change that to the beginning date of the fall semester next year, and then the end date of the fall semester. Now, yes?
So you have to have those dates exact, though? You know what I mean? If you're off a little bit, would it not move stuff over that wasn't covered in those?
No, it's going to move stuff over, but the date might not be associated correctly. It might not align correctly is what I'm saying.
I guess what I'm getting at is, how does it know what these dates are doing? Is there an official beginning and end date for each module that we create?
Not the module, it's
for the sandbox.
it's for the entire sandbox, for the entire semester.
So we kind of define that
Right.
beginning and date.
Now, considering that this course does not align with an actual semester that you teach, the issues that I've had with end dates, number one, are the actual start day. So, for example, I tried to make every single session start on an actual Monday. And when it started on an actual Monday, my dates transfer perfectly. I didn't have a problem. It's when scheduling or whatever, we've had to start on an actual day. So, for example, we have a fourth version of this course starting on Wednesday the 25th. That shifts these dates totally. So the beginning date of mine would have been, I don't remember, we started on September 11th, Monday, September 11th. Next one's Wednesday the 25th. Those dates would shift. And a lot of times, and let me, before, I want to make sure, I'm going to go back into my actual course. The challenge with this is I'm sitting here talking to you and you understand me, but I keep forgetting that we have video that I have to be mindful of. So that's what I'm trying to improve upon.
The date for the beginning and end of the whole course, but not the individual module. So those, if you lock them or you set prerequisites or whatever, if you lock them or releasing them on certain dates, when you copy it over, those dates don't occur and happen and shift also. You're only talking about the beginning time of the course and the end time of the course.
The beginning time and the end time of the course affects your entire modules and how they're set.
But it also, if I have a module and it's only available during a certain amount of time,
Right.
when you import the course over, copy the course over, what happens to those dates of the
Those
module?
would adjust too.
They do.
Yeah.
Both.
It's both. So the beginning and the end dates affect all of those things in between. And what I'm referencing to for the video, it affects all of the course summary.
So, sorry.
No, that's fine. No, if we need to understand this.
So how would we go in to make sure we're using the correct beginning and end date that we originally set for the sandbox box we're doing?
You'd have to, I would recommend having an academic, access to the academic calendar.
No, I'm sorry.
Okay.
So somehow we define the beginning and end date, correct? Or is this coming?
Wait a minute.
Is this coming from the college?
No, right here. By the way, I'm going into settings. The beginning, the end date, I started on September 8th, starts, and then I define that end date right here on the, actually it ends on the 15th.
So, Michael, would you just do one semester, the first day of classes and the last day of finals, or follow the?
Well, whatever I chose, how do I go back in and see what I chose? I could be
When
off.
you go back to your course, the course list, and go back into your spring 18 course and go in and see if they're populated?
Well, I don't want to know that I'm doing something correctly before I go. What I'm just basically asking is, this is creating parameters.
Right.
I know there's coding going on behind. So
Right.
If I'm off on my parameter just a little bit, I may not see everything as I want it to transfer. So we're setting.
The date,
we're
so the
going
date
back
right
to
here.
saying set from this date to that date.
Right.
Bring this stuff over. So how do I go back 4 months later and go, okay, what exactly date did I set? Maybe I didn't set it.
In the settings right here, this is, you see where the start and end dates, where I set my start and end dates for this course is actually right here.
So this is the old course, not the one.
This is let's pretend. So this is the training course that you're taking. In our example, we're using this, let's pretend this is the fall course.
Yeah. Perfect.
So for this fall semester, my fall semester was started from September 8th and ends on October 15th.
So they'll stay in there.
Yeah.
A place I can go double check.
Right.
Okay.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Now, the only time where this gets into an issue, like for example, spring and then fall, that can't account for the spring break that we actually have. So even if you have your dates correct, if you're accounting for like the spring break, you can't, Canvas is not smart enough to know when our spring break is. So you might have to go back in the fall and adjust a couple dates. manually.
Or
Or Thanksgiving, Christmas, whatever it may be.
part of me's thinking, this is what I do now. Of course, I don't use Blackboard, just for my grading program.
Right.
I transfer a year ago's fall course, a year ago's spring course, spring to spring,
Uh-huh.
because then it's going to have all those.
That's a good notion. That's possible. That's a good idea.
So take a whole year cycle.
Right. Now, when I've transferred from course to course, the only times where it's usually these first 3 dates up until unit 1 where I've had to make any adjustments. The rest of them have all been perfect, all the way up until the end. Again, if the start date doesn't start on the scheduling date, and then 2, if I have to schedule for any vacations or anything else that I have to schedule on. So for example, this 4th iteration of this course, which starts on the 25th, the schedule is going to bleed into Thanksgiving week and everything else. So if I was to use that course, I'm not going to, but if I was to use that course for spring, I'd have to readjust dates there because of the time. So while it's not perfect, it's been a big help other than the alternative that you would have to do in switching and manually doing every single actual date and event and time. It's been used, so I highly recommend it. So again, just to emphasize, this is not for your training sandbox. Your training sandbox, you'll just go. You don't even need to do this. You don't even need to do any of this. I could cancel that part. I'm just going to copy a Canvas course. I'm going to say CTF1. I'm going to say all content. That took away CTF1. Boom. All content, and then I would just say import. It goes through a queue, and this is a pretty big course, so I don't know how fast this is going to be. Also, what I would recommend doing too, creating regular backups of specific of your course. Backups.
So can we do that to our own drives?
Yeah. I'm waiting for this done, and then I'll show you in a
No,
second.
there's supposed to be a OneDrive on our Office.
Office 365, I believe.
They're all supposed to have like. I don't think I've learned how to use it.
I haven't even learned how to use it either. I don't even know if it's even available yet. Oh, it's available now? Okay.
Yeah. Okay, great. Because I'm still using the old drive that's in the system that we all have.
Now, mind you, when we do these course copies, always pay attention. Okay, so there's 2 issues here. Now, if you ever find an issue, if you ever find something that you don't understand, you can call the Canvas support line or call me. And there's 2 settings here that don't make any difference to me. I'm not using these settings, so right now, these are fine. The only time that you sit there, some issues that you might want to be mindful of is if there's broken links. You'll get broken link notices that'll come up here. So just make sure you pay attention to these. And if you don't know what they mean, you can go ahead and give us a call and we'll actually go through. But as you can see, if I click on the home button now, you can see CT Rogers. This is my own personal sandbox, and my whole entire course just transferred over perfectly. All the modules transferred over. You notice too, it doesn't take over any student data. It just transfers over the columns and everything. No student data, no assignments from the previous course transfer over anything. So that's all there. All right, so how do you back up stuff? So one of the first backups I would sit there and do is you submit your final project, you're done. I'd create my first backup. I would say export course content. So by the way, I'm in course menu settings. I would say export course content. And then I would say create export.
Where are you exporting it to?
You'd be downloading it to your computer. So I want the actual file.
I was writing, so I didn't see. Did you have choices of other
No.
places to send it? Only to-
It's just creating, well, now it's just creating the actual file itself. And then here's an old export that I did. I would sit there and I just click the download and then I would save it wherever I want to save it. That's great. So this course export you see here is September 28th. The new export, which is the one I just created, I want to click and download this. If I just automatically click on download, it's going to automatically just default and go to my downloads folder, whether you're on Windows or Mac. So I'm going to show in folder. The file has an extension, write this down, so it's a .imscc file. Take note while it's on your computer, so it's imscc, that's the file. Take note, you can't do anything, you can't open it, you can't download it and think that you can access Word documents or from student stuff here. It's just a file here. And you back that up. Now, with traditional backups, having one thing downloaded does not mean that this is an actual backup here. True backup is you have multiple different sources. So I would make a copy of this, I would put it on the OneDrive, I would make a copy of this, maybe put it on my Dropbox, and then the final copy I might have on a USB. At least three different locations for this, because they don't want to sit here and see you do something where you accidentally delete something, and you need to restore something, and then if I only had this one file, and then I leave and Donald does something with this computer and they deep freeze it and wipe it over, I just lost my backup and other things. You can't do any. There's no file on here on your computer. You can't do anything. So let me explain it this way. A lot of instructors, well, you know that export file that I just created in Blackboard? Some instructors will do that with their Grade Center. They'll download certain things and think that they could access student content and files, and you can't do that. Canvas is the only place where you can open this. See what I'm saying?
Because when you say you can't open it, then my question is, well, what good is it if it's my backup and I can't use it?
You open in Canvas. So what I'm trying to sit here and say is, okay, this is my CTF1 course. You are my students. You have submitted content. You've submitted Word documents. You have submitted certain things. Some instructors think that they could go on their actual computer and access that information on their computer. You can't do that. It needs to only be in Canvas. Correct. Correct.
It's like any file you still need to program.
Right.
Does that say 50 megs?
Yes.
So that's what your course size is.
Yes.
Of course, you don't have a lot. Well, you have videos.
Well, they're not upload. Now, my videos are not in Canvas. They're embedded players that point to a different location.
Okay, so that's my next question. So when we're creating stuff, it's sitting on your server. Somebody's server.
Somebody's server.
Not on my desktop.
Correct.
So when you make those videos, they're sitting on that server as well.
Not on Canvas's server.
This video you're making right now?
This video I make, so the video, so let me go back over here. So all of these videos, this was the last unit lab review. This video that's playing right now is sitting on some server on YouTube. All that's here is a player that's pointing, it's calling YouTube over and pulling that video over.
But links and all that will transfer.
Yeah.
It'll be seamless. It'll still look like that.
Yeah, so look, so if you look, this is GC CTF1. Let's go back over to, now this is my training, this is my own sandbox modules. Same course, just different sandbox. Here's the exact same video, but a different sandbox that plays, everything works perfectly. The hands-on videos, when you've reviewed, when I've looked at, the add and out, these hands-on assignments, these videos right here, if you click on the direct link, this is not on Canvas. This is stored somewhere on Screencast-O-Matic, some server by this company is where this actual video is being played from.
So we kind of have to look at each, whether it's YouTube or this company, have ways to save those videos we want to also save.
Right, I don't know, I mean, I don't necessarily recommend, I mean, you have, James and I confirmed, you have about 25 gigs available for your course. I don't recommend, the less you have to try to manage for an actual course and then transfer from one to another is the best. Have the bare minimum of what you need. So mine is the bare minimum, my course content, the things that I've written, and any relevant files. That's it, 50 megs.
But I wouldn't want backups just because I want backups to support that.
Right, no, that's, yeah, that's good.
They wouldn't have to necessarily do this backup. Like I said, you made a bunch of YouTube videos.
Right.
If I did that, I probably want my own copy of something else.
Mm-hmm.
Google's probably not going.
Right, no.
But it's just, you know, having taught since the beginning of computers, I've lost content, so I do what you do. I have at least 3 backups included.
Well, typically, like, for example, with this video here, this is outside of Canvas now. This is just, I'm talking general computer practice or whatever. I download this video. I have a Google Drive account associated that I use for where, as you all know, I don't use the Outlook, I use Google. And I upload these videos to my Google account.
Okay, so you are back.
And then when I get back to my office, I re-download it to my computer, but that copy stays on my Google Drive, and then I upload it to YouTube.
That's fine.
So when I go into Canvas to get the backup file,
Right.
I just use the pages and put it in that route, or do you go to settings and import, or how do you?
So you do, so just a real quick review. So I would, if I'm going to back up a course, I would go into settings and then say export course content, and then I would create the export, and then I would download that file. Let's say if something happens and you accidentally, Patricia here, she deleted week 3, module 3 by accident, and throughout all the resources, there's no way to retrieve it, but she has the backup of it. She could go back into her actual course, and then you would say import course content. I would select that Canvas export package. I would select that. I would choose my file. And where is it? No, right here. I would choose my file, open. And in this case, I'm not going to say all content because I don't want the whole course. I just want the content that I actually lost. I would say select specific content, and then I click import.
I lost all the content.
The content type you would want to select is Canvas course export package. So notice here where it says select content. I could select content, and then I would select, I would select whatever content that I want to import back in. And then I'm not going to do it because of course it's fine.
But then I'm going to have questions. So then you select it, how do you make it go into that sandbox?
Well, if I did modules, it would bring everything back in there. Because I have 7 modules, and it's bringing back all of them. It's not this specific. Oh, there we go. So here we go. So let's say for example, I wanted the module 4 back. I would just select that, and it would just bring that module back.
But you had already chosen the course.
Yeah.
And then you're just bringing it.
Right. So that's good practice.
So on the content type, say you lost everything and you're trying to get your download back into Canvas.
Right.
You select Canvas course export package.
Right. If I lost everything, then I would just sit here and say all content. I'm sorry.
So if I do the Canvas course export package, if I I'm given the option right now to choose either all content or select specific content.
Right.
So even on the download, it will open up and I can select specific things. or
Correct.
not. So it will even on the backup, on the download.
Right. So here's on the select. So I imported the one file that I just downloaded. I would select content, and I could select whatever content I want to import that I need to retrieve.
So whatever you select, whether it's all content or the specific content, it just populates back into Canvas as though it were your regular course.
Yeah. So let's do that right now. So So we have this course here. This is my course. Let's make sure I did this correctly. So let's go here. I'm in CTF1, settings, export course content. I'm just going to click this one that I just downloaded because I want to make sure I download the right thing. All right, so that's downloaded. I'm going to do something that you should never do in your course. I emphasize this immensely. So settings, let's say, for example, I'm multitasking and I'm helping James on the phone while I'm doing my course at the same time. And considering that I'm not paying attention to what I'm doing, instead of clicking export course content, I just clicked on reset course content. And without paying attention, as I'm answering James' question, I just click this button and reset my entire course. So you can sit there and see everything is now gone. This is where the heart attack sets in. So if you did your backups correctly, I could go into settings, import course content. The content type is now a Canvas course export package, which, by the way, this process, while we're doing this as far as security thing, this process that I'm actually doing, you could create that export package and then give that to another instructor as well. An adjunct instructor, you're going on sabbatical, you want to give another instructor the format of your course, you could do this the same thing. The difference is that they would just take your export package and then go into the sandbox that they're using. So I would choose this file. I would choose my CTF1 since that's open, and I would open that. I want all content since I just reset everything, and then I don't need dates. Let me do that again. So Canvas course export package, choose file, CTF1, open, and then I say all content, and then I say import. And because I created my backup, I have my course. I can restart it to where I.
Okay, so we should be creating backups like every day.
Not necessarily. I mean, not every day. I mean, if you want to sit there and.
Why make a backup of everything else?
I'm noticing that message of content import files cannot be downloaded after 500 megs.
Right.
So that means I would have to back up on a regular basis. Because if I waited 2 years
Now,
to back up,
Now, I want to emphasize something here because I don't have actual students that I'm actually noting. And notice I downloaded, I don't know this in a real case. And maybe as the semester starts, maybe we can, any one of you can do an actual backup and test this. Because we notice, I'm coming from the context of anything that is changed in your course, the course content that you've developed. So in this instance, you have 2 modules of a course you just developed. You want to back that up. Then you finish your actual course. You spend the, the next 2 months finishing that actual course. You have another course. You back that up. Course content. So when I'm hearing from you now, as far as any student activity, I don't believe this is doing student activity here, as far as grades and stuff like that, because note that I'm just importing a course with student activity, and that's not coming up in this course. You see what I'm saying?
Well, so in my grading program, I have 2 choices. I can back it up.
By the way, here's the restore.
Or I can back it up, understanding it's for a new course.
Mm-hmm.
So in that case, it doesn't bring the students along. But what I want to know is just basic. Anything I do, I've been doing this long enough, you lose content sometimes.
Right. No. Yeah. No. Totally. Totally.
And so I guess I have 2 questions. If I had hit that button, something had happened to my sandbox.
Mm-hmm.
There wasn't a copy up there. I had to make a backup button.
Right.
So why wouldn't I want it at least every Friday or whatever?
You can do that.
But it won't back up my students' grades.
That's what I'm going to show you right now. So here I'm course menu, grades. Mind you also, I'm saying this for your area, they do backups at Canvas and everything else. But I'm just saying, when technology, for as much as I'm passionate about it and the good that it can do, my motto is like, don't trust it. Don't trust it. So while there's options at Canvas to help us out, these are things to help protect you as well. So I'm in my grade center right now, grades, and as you can see outside of the blue cross X that's on my screen for I don't know why, this is all of the grades for this course. If I want to back,
So it imported this student, right?
no, I'm in my actual course.
Oh.
See.
Okay, I thought you were the one.
No, this is the one that I just restored. The one that I reset course content, I restored everything. But notice in this one, it didn't carry grades over. It's just a blank course. It's just the content itself. So to answer Michael's question, I wanted to show at least for student grades. Here's all the grades here for the entire course. I can back up, and this is done as a CSV file that I can download as well. Excel or whatever, yeah.
Can we do the same? I see an import button, so if I created something in Excel, I could import it as well.
I have not experienced. I don't have any experience with that, so I don't want to. I don't know, because with Blackboard, you could do import and export and stuff like that, but there's a specific format that you had. So what I would probably sit there and say is, with emphasis, I have not done this, but how I would approach this, spring semester comes, your course is set up, I would do an export of your grade center clean with no student activity, import that into Excel, and then do whatever you do. So you can import it back, because I don't know if there's a base format that this application needs to be able to understand your columns and stuff like that. Does that make sense?
Yeah, so related to this, when we're backing up, when we're copying a course,
Right.
the students won't come over there.
Right, as you saw with my other one, no students came over.
Categories are still
Yeah, all that came over.
great. Okay,
So look,
that's logical.
so going back over here, if I can find it. So this CT Rogers, it's not, CTF1 is the official course, CT Rogers is my course. So with the assignments, these are all my groups, hands-on assignments, discussions, quizzes, and then the final project. And you can see if I go to the syllabus, my weighted total, that transferred over as well. So all of the course content itself that you create, everything transfers over perfectly. And then the grade book, you'd have to download it. With that, that kind of covers, do we have any final questions on transferring content from Canvas? No? Okay. All right, what I want to do is I've created one final project so far. And I want to go over that final project with you folks. And so you can learn. Yeah. She asked to be graded first, and I'm like, okay, I'll grade you first, but I want to use it for an example for the course. And she's like, sure, it was fine. And she did well. There's just a couple things that I wanted to sit there and point out with this. So this is Erin Rocha. All right, so when we talk about homepage now, realize there's nothing you have to recreate here. Mostly, I wanted to clarify, there was a couple questions here. A lot of the majority of the final project, we started on day one, and each assignment helped you with that. Yes, James. I don't have. I mean, you don't have access to her course. Yeah, so I'd have to enroll you.
I have a basic question about the homepage.
Yeah.
We created a homepage. I'm kind of at this point where I've got all my trees, and I'm looking at the forest, and I forgot what the trees look like.
Right.
So I sent you an email about this. Let's see, training. So we created those gray boxes: announcements, syllabus, modules, discussion. We took source code.
Right.
But then when I look here, this homepage seems to already have start here, announcements, syllabus, learning modules, discussion.
So let me go back, and you mind if I put you on screen, Mr. Golden? So what you did was for this one, for Michael Golden. So Michael followed along. He did two things. This is for the video. He followed along. There was a tutorial on Canvas buttons. I don't remember the number off the top of my head, but I know it was in Module 2. He created these buttons right here based on mine, and then he created the descriptions. It's perfect. there's also this content over here. This content was from a template that was also on the homepage assignment that you also followed. So you kind of did two things at the same time. So all you need to do here is this stuff up here. This stuff is gone. You don't need any of that.
Yeah, because the other thing, well, I'm going to just run it on my own. So I've got those buttons, but just playing around, I can't figure out how to make them go yet.
We'll make sure that's gone.
Yeah, that's a basic question.
I don't know what that button is. What is that button? That is not what we want. I want that button to go away. Sorry, my OCD is kicking in. And there's a button here that I want to get rid of. It does not need to be there. There we go. So this is how your home page should look. And it looks like that because I just changed it. If you refresh yours, this is how it. And this is perfect.
So I guess that's what I can't remember. We used the homepage template to have those blue buttons.
Right. Yeah.
And you showed us how to create some of those.
Yeah.
I'll go back.
Perfect. All right, let's look at Erin's course. Notice she does that great banner. She inserted that in there. Great way to visually start off the course. Her announcements are starting off on the course. She has her announcements that appear on the course. If you don't know how to do that, let me know. I'll show you. So that's one thing you want to make sure of. She has a good, solid introduction to her course. She introduces herself and what the course will be about. And then she provides 2 working links to her modules. Make sure these links actually work. You confirm that by
So we
going.
can always use some content.
Yeah.
Like I already have 2 with me, so I don't do that.
No. This was only to cover your first 2 modules. And that's perfect. It goes to Unit 2, and this one goes to Unit 1 on the top of the course.
So we don't have to create a new homepage.
No, that's what I was saying is at what we did for the first 4 units, we were already working on, you've been working on your final project since day 1. If you've done all of the work up until this point, there's only 5 things you would need to do. Number 1, complete the 5.4 syllabus assignment. And then number 2, create 4 more content items. I said those content items could be a combination of an assignment, discussion, a content page, or a quiz. A combination of any of those 4 items. So for a total of 8 items total, 4 from what you learned from the course, and then you do 4 on your own, and you'd be done. You'd be done. I'm just going over and showing you some of the things that she's done, some of the things that I liked, and then a couple of things that I wanted to criticize as far as her, so you folks could learn on your own.
So who does first 5 like that before?
So the only thing, by the time you get to 5, if you've done everything up until this point, there's only 5 things that you need to focus on. Number 1 is the 5.4 poster syllabus assignment. And then you need to create 4 more content items. That was assignment, discussion, content page, quiz, any combination of those 4 items. So you could have 2 assignments, 2 content pages, an assignment, a discussion, whatever that combination is. You need to at least have at least 8 out of your 2 modules. I want to see 8 total content items completed. 4 from where you learned on the course, the assignments taught you how to do it, and then 4 you create on your own. So you just need to do 4 more. So she has a solid homepage. So as far as the things here, I love this homepage. She got full credit on it. The announcements appear. They're relevant. These announcements are relevant to her actual course. She's giving an actual introduction to Psych 120, and then she's also giving an introduction to Welcome to Unit 1. She gives a great overall introduction to the course, and she provides 2 working links to 2 of her modules in her course. Moving on to the syllabus. Pretty much, she copied everything from the course syllabus, and if you've done this, this is perfectly fine. The only emphasis that I sit here and see that when you do this, she's fine right here. I'm getting ahead of myself. She has the emphasis on the course syllabus and the importance of it. She emphasizes referring students to the course summary down below, as it's the course schedule for what's due each week. She provides her course summary, communication policy, and how to get a hold of her via the conversations inbox. And then her syllabus displays perfectly. No problems with this. And her course summary, all of her dates. And with these dates, for the nature of this course, I don't care whether they're correct or not. I mean, relevant to what spring is. I just want to know that you understand where to assign the due dates and everything else. Also, for calendar events, she has the date, the time, the location, and context details for this first meeting. If there are no details for your first meeting, this is something that I will mark off on. You need to provide context for your student for any specific event that you're offering. So that's the calendar. So she did good on the context. Let's go through her modules. Let's go. I'm gonna go through each item one by one, and because I don't remember where the certain sections are, and then we'll zero in on the overall modules themselves. Because there's one important thing here that you need to understand that could affect your course, and that's what I knocked her on. So let's go. Welcome one. Welcome one is just a content page. She did fine there. That's her introduction. She offers the syllabus. So you asked again, she offers the syllabus here. I would naturally, and this is fine, but I mean, for me personally, I want to emphasize students the importance of going to the syllabus section. So what I probably would have done here, and this is not this does not have an impact on the final course. This is just an overall design recommendation. I would just have another preceding paragraph emphasizing the syllabus. It's your Bible. It's important to read it on a regular basis. Make sure you go to the syllabus section, and you can provide a link directly to the syllabus section for that. Take care, James.
I'm leaving because I don't like you, but it's really because of time.
So this is just a, when I get pages, I see my home page. You got pages that syllabus. Is that something we said earlier?
Ask that again.
Well, I'm trying to follow along just on my own page. So
Right.
When I hit pages button, I see my home page. You got pages.
I go in the modules here. So I'm in her, I'm reviewing her modules right now. Now note, watch on my screen, watch where the modules, the blue button right here. When I click on this link, watch where this blue button goes. And click welcome, and then you notice it just jumps down to that page. Yeah. So I'm on her specific page, and I'm just navigating through her direct module. And I'm just navigating one by one by one. She does good here with her, she has a shrinks assignment. She provides very clear instructions. She provides her point value, file upload. She gives her due dates available for everyone, and then she has her rubrics. The only thing I would probably critique her there is she didn't put a available until date. So, and that's kind of important. I mean, in the context of an actual course, when you have, and I'm sure you've noticed this with the assignments that you've done in my course, for the length of an assignment is available, students can resubmit multiple times, over and over again. Also, when I make a submission, I'm in your course, you have me write a paper on some biology phenomenon or something like that, I submit it, and then I want to resubmit. I can't delete, the other one stays. I can't delete it, you can't clear it, you can't delete that one. It's just a new resubmission appears over. And I can show you, I don't know if I have any resubmissions on the other one. But, so if you want to only limit it to only a certain number of attempts at a time, have people access to having, you want to make sure you have your until date set.
So help me remember, if the until date still displays.
If I have available from, available until 1 week, the assignment after, let's say, okay, so available from October 5th, let's say it's available until today, Friday the 13th. Saturday the 14th, I will still be able to go and read this assignment. I won't be able to submit anything.
Can I see at the top of that page? That's assignment. Okay.
Yeah.
So when you click that module, then it went straight to assignments.
Well, I'm going through in order, so technically, right now, I'm right here. And I started here, and I'm just clicking the next button, next button, next button.
So does Blackboard let you resubmit as many times until that
By default, no.
So that would be where you set the number of attempts.
Right, in Blackboard.
Okay, so in Canvas, when a student submits something and then they go, oh no, I did it wrong, and they submit it again, do I as the instructor see all of theirs?
I'll show you, once I go through, I'll show you that in our grade center, how it looks. It'll be a lot easier to see. Because I had some of you with the extra credit assignment for the Unit 4. I'll show you how that works there. Ooh, we got a question. Hi, Sharon. I'm assuming you have a question. Go ahead. Oh, it's privately? This is public here, so make sure and be careful if there's anything you want to say, because I'm going to see it and everybody's going to see it for the video.
Hi, Chris. No, this is not private. I just wanted to type in while you were talking.
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Fantastic. In my Unit 4, I somehow linked my Unit 3, and anything I typed in Unit 4 modules changed Unit 3, which was already graded. So I spent an hour trying to undo the damage that I couldn't figure out. So I had to delete all of Unit 4 to then recreate a new module so it wouldn't impact the unit before. How did I do that? How did I link the two and it just automatically changed the previous unit?
I would have to sit there. Why don't we do this? I'm going to get through Aaron's project right now.
Okay.
Point this out. Let's do that. And then hopefully, do you have a few minutes after we're done?
I certainly do.
And then we can go over and figure that issue out after that's done.
Great. Thank you.
Moving on with Aaron's stuff here. So with every assignment, with every discussion, we need a rubric. I don't believe did she do one here? Yes, she did. She did show a rubric with this one. The rubric was fantastic. However, as you note, now let me go back to her assignment here. With assignments, the rubric automatically appears. It appears on the bottom. Students have a clear idea of how they're going to be assessed. However, with the actual rubrics, there is no instruction here on there. I as a student, if I'm brand new and I see this, I have no idea here that I need to click this gear icon and then say show rubric. I made this announcement yesterday. So I made this announcement in the course yesterday. So if you look at my announcements, discussion rubric access instructions. So I talk about when adding a rubric to a discussion, make sure at the very end of the prompt you provide students the instructions on how to access that rubric. So if you notice that at the end of all of my rubrics, or at the end of all of my discussions, I have this section here, grading rubric. Click the gear icon located in the top right-hand corner, and then click show rubric to view the grading requirements for this discussion. And you can see that if I go into the actual rubric, or if I go in the actual discussion, you will see at the very bottom where that's listed. So with your discussions and your rubrics, make sure go to this. It's into the announcements. It's titled Tip Discussion Rubric Access Instructions. Make sure you copy all of this. Make sure you take this, copy it, and then include that in your rubric, in your discussion prompts. That'll be very important. Going through, and then she goes through and she doesn't include the rubrics for the rest of her discussions and some of her assignments. That's one thing you'll want to do. I'm just quickly going over some of these now. And so syllabus 9 was okay. Again, she didn't do the available until dates. Now, unit 2. As we talked about, now we're getting into the scope of the modules. For the modules, we talked about the very first page of an actual learning unit. I wanted to see an overview page. So that overview page, remember, if you can look at any one of my modules. So unit 2.1 overview. I had an overview page here. It talked about what the module is going to cover, Any student learning object by the end of this lesson, what are the objectives by the end of this lesson? You'll be able to, and then to meet these objectives, you need to do X, Y, and Z. It doesn't have to be that extensive, but just even at the bare basis, if you sit here and you tell me, what's a topic you teach? What's one subject you teach? Environmental biology. For this lesson, we're going to learn about environmental biology and how global warming is contributing to some of the issues that we're going to do today. You're going to be learning key concept 1, 2, and 3, and it could be as simple as that, just a couple paragraphs, just to prepare the student and give them context for what's expected of them. That's what I want to see at the beginning. Yeah.
We don't,
Oh, go ahead.
we don't have to follow yours as long as we're covering those items.
Right. It doesn't have to look exactly like this. It doesn't have to be extensive. I just want to know, however you choose to format it, I want to know going into the module, what is the module about and what am I expected to do?
I like your templates. How do I see it? I mean, otherwise, I got to create a bunch of those things, right? Some of them are banners.
Go to the Canvas Commons right now. You're in Canvas, right? You see this button right here? Canvas Commons, right above help. Global navigation, left-hand side, right above the help icon. Commons. We're going to go to the Commons. So what Michael asked about was he saw this template, loved it, wants to use it for his course, but doesn't have the ability to create it. Well, he doesn't have to recreate it because he can import it into his course, and I'm about to show you how to do that now. So in the Commons, in the search bar, type in my last name, Rodgers. Yep. It should load properly. But mine didn't load properly, so I'm going to do it again. There we go. Do you see what's on my screen? Now I got to remember. So on the very top row, I have a koala, and then I have a Unit 1 hands-on ed profile, and then I see a module overview template. You see that one. Click on Module Overview Template. Mine's still loading. I lost it. I don't know why the internet's not working for this today. Why are you not working?
So is that a library of templates that people are allowing to be?
Anyone, you have the ability, your colleagues, you have the ability to share a course. You can share modules, you can share images, you can share files, you can share everything. Anything that's these icons above, you can share these with the Gross Mountain Clean Magnet Community College District if you don't want the rest of the world to see it, or you can share it with the entire world if you wanted to sit there and do it.
But I need to have confidence if I go there. I have permission.
Yeah. As long as it loads properly, and now it does. So, if you do, you see import to Canvas. Did it load, or is it you're slow too?
Yeah.
Locate your GC Canvas training sandbox. Select, where's mine? Mine's not there. Oh, there it is. And then say import to course.
So it's gone into my sandbox.
To your, well, whichever one you selected. In this example, it should be your GC Canvas training sandbox.
Maybe sitting as a file.
Did you do it? All right. So go back to your dashboard. Let me do mine just to make sure. I'm going to do mine. So go back to your dashboard. Open your training sandbox. I'm going to open my training sandbox. Now you need to go to your pages section. view all pages. Ignore my long list. The thing that you want to sit there and see is you should see something that says overview template.
That view page history. View all pages. Oh.
View all pages. Do you see that file that says overview template? All right, so watch on my screen. So I click on overview template. This is the template right here. This module focuses on objective 1, 2, 3, 4, blah, blah, blah. Now going back, if you look on, I have to go all the way down. With the overview template, you click on, you see the gear icon right here? Yeah. Click on that gear icon. And then I'd say edit. Or no, cancel, that's, no. Click on the gear icon and then I say duplicate. I want to duplicate that file. So once that's duplicated, you should see, you'd have a file there that says overview template copy. And then I would rename that file for whatever module that you're working with. So if, let's say it's unit 2.1 or unit 3, you know, this is for unit 2, I would call this 2.1 or overview template or overview. And then I would add that overview page to my module. Does that make sense? No, I can do it, yeah. So I'm just gonna put an arbitrary number here, so 9.1 overview, so let's pretend that's it. So there's my 9.1 overview right here. And then if I were to go into my actual module, and let's say let's pretend it's for unit 1, then I would just go into my content page, and then find that 9.1. That's the one I renamed. And then I'd say add item, and then it's right here. And then you would just create those duplicates for in this case, for hers, when we're actually looking at hers, for your unit 1, that's usually just a welcome, orientation. Here's the nature of how the course works. You're only going to need one for this final project. You're only going to need one, and that would be for the actual learning unit that you're actually starting with. So right now you only need one. But when you get in your actual course, you would duplicate that page for as many modules as that you actually need for your overview.
Yeah, it's really clean. It's already been done.
Perfect. All right.
And I'm used to it.
All right. Here's something very important that I want to sit here and make note of. And I knocked her off for this. So this is where she got knocked off on. Number 1, she didn't have her own overview page. Number 2, she set up her prerequisites and her requirements incorrectly, which has an impact on her course. She didn't have an overview page, 1. And 2, she set up the prerequisites and her requirements for her modules incorrectly. I'm just saying that, so prerequisites and requirements, and I'll explain this in a second. This is not a requirement, but if you're going to use it, make sure you use it correctly. If you use it incorrectly, I'll knock you off on the project. So let me explain what I actually sit here and said. And actually with my course, let's explain it through my course first on how it actually works. So each week, you had a module to work on. Notice here, and I'm walking over to the screen right now, if you look under the page titles and everything else, there are certain requirements that I told you actually needed to create. So for 2.5 and 2.6, these graded assignments, you needed to score at least a 0. All that meant is I needed to grade your assignment. For 2.3, you needed to mark as done. And then for graded discussion, you needed to contribute. Those are requirements that I set for this specific module. Now, if you notice in Unit 3, I had a prerequisite saying you had to complete the requirements of Module 2 before you could move on to Module 3. So as you can sit there and see, if I go through here on Unit 2, and I click on the gear icon and I say Edit, these are all the requirements that I had set for Unit 2. Then when you get to Unit 3, Edit, my prerequisite I selected right here, I said you needed to complete Unit 2. If you didn't complete at least one of the requirements from Unit 2, you wouldn't be able to go on to Unit 3. Let's look at what Aaron did. Aaron said prerequisite. You needed to complete Unit 1. However, if you look under, if you notice on her screen right here, there are no requirements set for her module. So let's contrast mine. It's a little kind of hard to see. So I have the requirements are set view, mark as done, score at least 0. Those are the requirements for mine. But if you look at hers, she has no requirements set. So if I'm going to sit here and say edit, there's no requirements here set for her module. So by doing that, not setting her requirements, this prerequisite that she set for Unit 2 is pointless. It's not going to mean anything. See what I'm saying? I didn't really cut, that part was mentioned, but I didn't make that a requirement. So I'm saying you don't have to do it, but if you do it, it better be correct, otherwise I'm going to.
That's the advanced class.
Yeah.
No.
No.
I'm going to want to do it, but I'm just trying to follow along. I don't see a requirement in the dialog box of
So you're on your module screen,
module.
and I want to get out of her course because I don't want to, I'm pretty much done with her course. I want to make sure. So I'm going to go into mine.
Oh.
So let me go over this screen more in a little more detail for you folks. So at the very top of this, you have a lock until button. And so you could lock a module for a specific date to be released. So before, up until this course, my modules did not unlock until Friday at 8 a.m. But over the summer, we had a bunch of instructors saying, can I work ahead? Can I work ahead? And that whole lock system wouldn't work if you wanted to work ahead. So I took that away. But for you, you might want to sit there and lock these modules to be released on a specific day.
You use that feature only for one module?
Yeah.
Okay, like so you want to make sure they do the welcome module.
Right.
Moving ahead.
Right.
So everyone has to do that. So that's one way of doing a prerequisite, right?
Right. But so with your, let's say you're getting started orientation, I can't have prerequisites. I have to have the you make sure you set your requirements here. So
at the beginning of the unit, I went to the gear. I thought I had to do it for each line.
Mm-hmm.
And I now see where I can add requirements.
Yeah.
Okay. But I don't see where I can really add view or mark done or September 17th, 4 points contribute.
So first off with your requirements, you need to select students must complete all of these requirements. You do have the option to say students must move through the requirements in sequential order. That's up to you. At the very bottom, you'll see a link there that says add requirement. Let me go over. I'm walking over this golden.
I'm hitting.
Hit that. Edit. Add requirements. So you want to welcome, and then you have your items there for the specific thing. And if you notice here too, for those that, if you watch the video or anything else, and this is the one area that made me, I didn't do the numbering convention, you know, the 0.1, 0.2. I didn't do that before. This is where this is where I was convinced where I needed to do it. Because there was a common thing that I was actually doing when I set these requirements, and without the numbers, I was selecting wrong and incorrect things. But when I go through here now and I'm selecting all of this, I don't have to think about this anymore. I can sit there and I know what item it's all numbered correctly, and I just got to go in the number of the order that I actually have to sit there and do. and all my stuff is correct. This is the one thing that made me sit here and do these actual numbers, because it makes it so much easier to sit here and go through and understand, okay, 0 to L1, 0 to 4, and this is what I would make my mistake up for. Oh, here's the discussion. I need to add this one, 6, 7, and then I can go in the actual order. So that was huge there. So you have that. Since this is my getting started module, I can't do a prerequisite because there's nothing preceding it. And so I set my actual requirements.
So on that template, we got it doesn't have it. We just got rid of it. We had gray ones.
Well, that's a module. You can name it. Your getting started one is arbitrary. You can name it whatever you want. Yeah. Did it work? Good. Awesome. One thing I want to make note of, and this is where I did it before. Now, the way I had this course set up before was students must complete all of these requirements, and then students must move through requirements in sequential order, meaning you couldn't skip around. In your course, you could skip around. In the module, you could do whatever you wanted. Also, I had here, instead of hands for the assignments, instead of saying score at least, I said you had to at least submit the assignment. Now, remember, the rule that I had for my course is for any late work, you're going to get a 0. But you still need to submit the assignment before you can move on. However, I had a debate with another instructor in an English department who took my course and then implemented that and ran into a problem. Because her rules were different. Her rules was, you miss an assignment, you miss an assignment. Done. She never let students retake quizzes and stuff like that. Me, I didn't matter. So that's a problem. If she did not allow the student to go back, and this rule is set, they're stuck in the course and they can't move forward. So it's kind of, you really think through before you start going through this actual stuff right here, and make sure that the logic that you're applying in your head and the rules that you have as far as how you're taking in work and the requirement are going to make sense. So, because I want to try to avoid any bottlenecks that you might come up with any students in your course. So that was pretty much it. With 4 minutes left, are there any questions that you have? Final project, Canvas, how we're moving forward. Moving forward right now, so we're coming up on our final, we have one final 5-week workshop that this course we're doing for another set of instructors. And that's going to pretty much close it out for the fall semester. We're going to assess whether or not if there's any new ones, whether we'll have to do this training again in the spring. But hopefully Jen and I want to get more specific, because we've been doing the bigger picture. Now we want to get into specifics of assignments and grade book and do focus workshops instead of this broad overview for you folks. So that's how we're thinking as far as training, and then ideas that, like you mentioned, Michael, as far as other software programs and applications online. But
so we all kind of need that basic template.
Right.
We're going to want to add stuff to it.
Right.
My philosophy is keep things simple, but also for students.
Actually, there's one thing I want to share with you. I haven't had a chance to really focus on it because we've been doing, again, we're busy with training, but this is something that I want to take more advantage of. Spring, because build community. I strongly believe in the power of the Canvas community and the amount of resources that they have available and the people that you can network with. And so what I want you to do right now is in the global navigation bar, I want you to click on Help. And then click on Search the Canvas Guides. Once you are on the Canvas Guides, in the top right-hand corner, let's go ahead and click on Log In. And there might be a specific form you have to fill out. Yours is going to log in right automatically. While you log in on yours, I've got 2 chats I'm going to answer right here. So I had a question from Sharon. Do I have to grade the quiz before the student can move forward? That's if you set the actual requirement for that. You do have the option of just saying for the student to submit the assignment or quiz. So what Sharon's asking here is based on those requirements that we're asking about, do I have to grade the quiz before moving forward? If you had score at least like I did, yes, I would have to grade your assignment before you can move forward in the course. However, if you just said submit the assignment, student just needs to submit it. Whatever grade they get is whatever grade they get. They can move on to the actual course. Hope that answers your question, Sharon. Let me know otherwise. Did we get logged in? Login was top, yeah. Let's make sure. That is the right place. You're already logged in. All right, so on the top, you see the Canvas logo. There's some buttons there at home, answers, ideas, groups. So I want you to click on groups. Groups at the very top. At the very top. I want you to click on view all groups. And there's two places I want you to join. The first one, on the screen right up top here, and Sharon and Deborah, I hope you're following along with this as well. In the type to filter by text, type in Grossmont. What should pop up is the Grossmont Canvas users group. Click on that link and request to join the group. So type in
No, sort of, no.
Did you enjoy that? How helpful were the discussions in the course?
Very helpful.
Okay. I want to build on that for the spring semester. So what this is, you can't see it because I have to approve you, but on the Grossmont Canvas users group, this is a place where I want to sit here and go through and post content, ask questions, take that conversation that we kind of built over and carry it forward and have this as one big community. Because a lot of you, what you do, and the way it's being conditioned here is we'll do all these workshops, and then you people will talk. Michael and I will talk, and he'll email me and ask me questions. You'll email me and ask me questions. Arthur, and you're sharing great ideas. And some of the things that are challenges, you'll have one issue that 20 other people will, and I'm answering all those things at once. Whereas as a group, you can post these issues online. I can answer them. We can answer them all together, or you can share your things. And it's a great way for me, too, to share those new tools and ideas and stuff like that, to where we're not regulated to an actual workshop that you have to wait for. We can share all these things organically. This is something that I'm going to put more of an effort on here. Yeah, FAQs, we can do a lot of stuff there. Thank you, Sharon. There's one more group I would like for you to join, so I want you to go back, click on groups. Go back and click on view all groups. Halfway down at the bottom, you'll see California Community Colleges. Go ahead and click on that link. I want to join that one too.
It's all right, isn't it?
I think you can. Oh, I think they did it open. I thought you had to join that one too. Yeah, go ahead and click the follow. Now, go back to groups. Now save view my groups.
said, follow, I think this is follow.
Go back. Here, I want to see one
This
thing.
one says join.
Yeah, okay, actions, that's what we want. Go click on it. Close this back. Actions. No, that's not. We're on the wrong area here. I'm on the wrong area. We want groups. We got all these tabs. How do we do all this? Actions. That's what. I think they have to approve that one too. But if not, you can sit there and go through. So what this one is, so since the California Community Colleges Open Education Initiative, that's the group. They're the ones that have chose Canvas for the state of California for their learning management system. And that's how we started to follow suit. This is the door. They are the reason why we switched to Canvas, ultimately. And so with this one, with content here, I mean, as far as doing with the state of California, there's a ton of content here. People asking questions. You can collaborate with instructors all over the state of California regarding Canvas and how people are using it right now. And they also offer, there's workshops, and they've done Q&A calls, and they've done some great stuff here that you can also learn from as well. So it's a great place to network. I have to approve it. So when I get back to the office. So like I said, right now, it's not ready yet, but come spring, and Janet and I, that's one of the efforts that I'm going to start promoting and making more note of after we get through the channel.
One thing I was also thinking is the possibility, I don't know what your availability is. You said we used to have a cattle. And, you know, some of these Fridays be designated as kind of open labs to come in and work on their stuff.
Yeah.
And have you here. That's something that you're open to or able to do.
I have to talk with Janet about it. I mean, with the cattle, I love the cattle. It was a great idea, but that all went down the tubes over the 2008. That was the budget crisis that they canceled right over there. Yeah.
Yeah, so, you know, if maybe once or twice a month, Fridays, you know, have an open house.
Yeah.
Where we can come in. Because I know you've got a whole lot of other information, skills and such.
Right.
That right now, I just want to focus on this.
Of course.
I'd be interested in doing other things later.
Perfect. Yeah, no, definitely. That's something I'll definitely take to Janet. We'll actually consider. Yeah, the whole problem. Oh, it depends on room availability and everything else, but to get a specific, I'm sure it would be a challenge to get a specific lab like the cattle lab again, but maybe I could work with Donald as far as scheduling time here on a specific date. Yeah. So.
I've been here long enough that priorities change.
No, and I know Janet, that's something Janet would definitely have support over. With that being said, I've covered everything I wanted to cover today.
As they say, learning takes place at home.
All right. Oh, one last thing I want to make note of. Okay, there's one thing. I'm not done yet. Actually, I'm not done. Okay. So, as of this Sunday at 11:59 p.m., this course will become inactive. You can still access it. You can still read the content. You just won't be able to submit anything. So just to be clear, and for everybody watching on the video, make sure you get your project in by 11:59 p.m. this Sunday. Otherwise, you're out of luck. How do you access this course when the course is done? It will conclude, and if you go into courses, all courses, I scroll down to past enrollments, you will see the course listed here. So what I would probably do, what would probably be easy instead of clicking on all these buttons that I just told you to click, in your browser of choice, just go to this homepage and then just bookmark this in your favorite bookmarking tool in your browser, and then you'll always have access to it. So if you're using Google Chrome and I wanted to bookmark this, all I just do is just click on the star right here. the top right-hand corner, and then I can bookmark this page, and then I don't have to click on courses, all courses. I can always have access to this course. Now I'm done.
I got one quick question.
Oh, okay.
I can't remember how to hide courses.
Hide courses.
And is it in courses or dashboard?
Courses, all
Because all of a
courses.
sudden my fall and my spring stuff showed up. It's like, oh yeah, there's a way to get rid of this.
Courses, all courses. You notice the items that are the orange starred is orange, white is not there. For the things that you want to see, you click on it, the orange star will appear. For things that you don't want to see, turn that star off. I had a great pleasure working with all of you folks.
Yeah, you're great, Chris. I'm very, very impressed. I learned a lot from you.
Oh, thank you. That means a lot. I appreciate that.
Lots of good stuff. I'm definitely going to do the outline stuff. That's really good. I think that's going to help the students' hands more. The more details we can get for them, better. Especially if
What would make me really happy if you love this course? Or even if you had feedback, anything you can criticize me on, I highly welcome. Please, I beg of you. This is something that is always a challenge to do every semester. 5.9 course evaluation survey. Please fill this out after you've submitted your final project. It would be greatly appreciated. All feedback goes, definitely, any feedback that I've gotten, because after I do this course, I rehaul this course all over again. All of the comments that I've received from the 4 times that I've personally taught it, and for the 3 times 3 other instructors have taught it, have gone into the course that you see today. So you also have to thank all the instructors that have taken this course because they've helped drive what you just took today. So please fill this course evaluation survey out. It'd be greatly appreciated. Got one more question here. Oh, thank you, Sharon. Love it. Love it. Makes me happy. All right, so for the sake of the video, I'm going to end it here. Again, thank you so much. We are not done by any means as far as how you work with me. You're more than welcome to answer any questions. So from this point forward, until the final project, we're done with the course. So any correspondence, you don't need to email me through Canvas anymore. Just send me a direct email and do continue communication where we've talked before this course. That just to get you in the habit of using the conversations inbox. But we're done with the course, so no need to use the conversations inbox anymore. Just email me directly. And then you also have the Canvas 24/7 support number for any questions as well that you may ask. Yeah.
picked up right away, knowledgeable.
Mm-hmm.
Each time you go, oh yeah, I know this one.
Yeah, they're perfect. That's perfect.
Yeah. And one was like on a Saturday night.
Mm-hmm. And again, that's also for your students as well. So technical login issues, there's no, again, I'm going to say it again, no on-campus support. Students can't go to Mission and Records or the Tech Mall. Tech Mall is just going to give them the number anyways. So you want to give that, make sure that number is plastered all over your materials for your students. Yes, that was an extra. That wasn't part of the OEI package because they negotiated a base deal for that, but the Canvas was an extra on top of that 24/7 support. And it's helped me too. Thank you, Deborah. All right, so for the sake of the video, thank you again. I'm going to stop the video. Anybody that wants to stay after and answer me questions will go. And then Sharon, don't leave yet. I'm going to go ahead and unmute you. Unmute, or you want to unmute yourself, Sharon, and then I can answer your question. But real quickly, Sharon, Patricia had a question I'm going to answer.
Sure.
Patricia's question, and then